welcome to Movement Not Miracles. I am Anna from Eat Move Be Happy, and Movement Not Miracles is your bite-sized version of ways to keep your joints moving and keep your joints healthy, look after your posture and stretch through some of those muscles. We can get really stiff and sore if we stop moving, and particularly if we find ourselves staying in the same position for long periods of time. So movement is all about looking after ourselves, not miracles, because we can't fix everything, but certainly keeping moving is a good top tip from us, the team at Eat Move Be Happy. So today, a bit of an all over blast, just to wake everything up, and some fairly simple and effective moves to look after, starting with your shoulders and your upper back, and then working our way down to our hips. So to start off with, one of my favourites, making sure you've got a good solid balanced base. That's important, whichever move you're doing or whichever stretch you're doing, make sure that you set up properly. So evenly balanced with your weight between your left and your right side, whether you are standing up like me or whether you are sitting down. And if you're sitting, make sure you are not leaning against the backrest of the chair, so sitting up nice and tall and sitting on the bones of your bottom. So it's really easy for us to sit back on this fleshy part of our bum, which means we sort of sit like this. And I don't want you to do that. I want you to sit nice and tall on the bones of your bum and sitting up out of your pelvis. So I'm standing nice and tall to start off with, and we're just going to roll those shoulders. So bringing them forward, up to your ears, back and down. And as you get to the back and down bit, you'll get a nice stretch across the front of your chest, some space across your collarbones, and then squeezing in and then back and down, squeezing through the shoulder blades on your back chest. And just this movement helps to get the muscles moving, helps to get your shoulder blades mobile, and they should be mobile. Your shoulder blades should move around on your back and therefore get your shoulders moving. And we should have a nice stretch across the front of our chest. Our shoulders should be back and down, and the shoulder blades should be sort of into the middle of our back for a nice healthy posture for our upper back. And what we tend to do, if I show you from the front, we do tend to be very round shouldered. So here, the muscles here are shortening, my shoulders are forwards and my shoulder blades are wider on my back, so because we slump down. And that's not actually good for our long term, for our shoulders or our upper back. And if you have any aches or niggles in your shoulders or your upper back, it could be because those muscles are not working properly or have stiffened up, and your shoulder blades are not getting the movement that they can, and your shoulders are not getting the movement that they can. And to increase that move, you can add in your arms. So I like to start off with a little move just to wake things up, and then you can do a couple of as big a move as you can do, whether that's elbows high or whether it's arms high. Trying to get your arms back by your ears, which I find quite difficult because my shoulder flexibility is not brilliant, but doing what you can do to get the most out of that move. Okay, my shoulders feel a little better now. So now I'm going to take this into a side bend. This is my favourite. Bendianas, for those of you that know. There's a story behind that which I won't tell you now. So we're going to reach down one side and then down the other side. And again, you can do these seated. So we're aiming for as much movement through the spine as we can. So for that to happen, you're going to use your tummy muscles and the muscles in your back, so all of that core region, the muscles in the side of your waist. You're also going to be reaching down with that arm, so you're going to work through the muscles in your upper back and your shoulders as well. Now making sure that your body stays in a nice straight line. Imagine you've squished yourself in between two planes of glass. So you've got glass here and glass behind you. So you can't lean forward or stick your bottom out because you'll headbutt the glass in front of you, and you'll stick your bottom into the glass behind you. So you have to stay in a nice straight line and bend down to the side. So we don't want our movement coming forwards. And you might find as you do a couple more, you get a little bit more movement, which is good. And then we're just going to introduce that nice stretch up one side and then pushing that arm over the other side. So we've got a bit of a stretch through that side as well. Stretching up and over. A couple more on each side. Don't forget to keep breathing. That's quite important. It's really easy to start holding your breath. Oh, you might just see Martha's tail just trundling across the side. Oh, there she is. You can go out in a minute, Martha. Right, we're going to do a bit of an upper back stretch now, but aiming for some mobility as well. So you need either a wall if you are standing, or if you are seated, then you can use a work surface or a table or a window ledge, so that you can lean forwards and brace yourself on the solid surface. So we're aiming for, hello Martha, we're aiming for some movement through that upper back, so you're using the wall to stabilise yourself and just pushing, keeping your arms straight, pushing your body down towards the floor. Now, there is a tendency with this one, I don't know whether I can show you, to let your back arch. So as you're pushing down, you've got a nice hollow in your lower back, which actually is not good for your lumbar region. So what I want you to think of is keeping your pelvis tucked under. So this is if you're doing this standing. So when you're in this position, just check that your pelvis is tucked under and not sticking up like that. Can you see the difference? So this way, I'm protecting my lower back, and it also means that I don't get the movement from the lower back, I get the movement from my upper back, which is where we want it. So I'm just pushing my hands into the wall and trying to stretch through my armpits. Now my upper back gets particularly stiff. I'm just going to have a bit of a tactical waggle. So this move is particularly good for me. But your upper back is not designed to move as much as your mid and lower back, but it should move a bit. So keeping it moving is a good way to avoid it stiffening up so much that it causes you some pain. Mine aches if I don't keep it moving, and I know that I have to do a bit more. Right, pelvis tucked under, so your lower back is flat, and then pushing into the wall and pushing my chest down towards the floor. I'm also working quite hard through my legs to stabilise my lower back and straighten through my knees. So I'm not letting this happen. Okay, that feels as if I've got a little bit more movement there. Right, so moving down into our hips. So I'm going to show you a hip stretch kneeling on the floor. If you are seated, you can bring one ankle over your other thigh and gently push that knee down towards the floor, which is going to get some external rotation in that hip and just stretch through the muscles in the outer hip. We're going to do a bit of a stretch, kneeling on the floor if you can. So, kneeling on one leg so that your leg is vertical, and then your heel in line with your knee, and that knee should be back. So we don't want the knee, I show you from the side, we don't want that knee rolling in like that. So the knee should be out. So that's going to work through the outer part of your glutes just to start off with. That in itself might be quite good work for you. And then keeping that good form, so as ever, set up, with the knee back, we're just going to rock forwards, keeping the body upright. So think of using, so your pelvis is tilted forwards, so your bum's not sticking out just as it was before, and think of pushing your body with this bum. So rather than using movement of your body is staying in a straight line. So think of working through your tummy muscles and your bum muscles to keep your body nice and stiff and straight. And then we're just moving our body along as if you're trying to push that knee over your toe. So keeping that knee back. So we're going to do a couple on each side like this for movement. And we'll just do the other side. You need your heel a reasonable distance away from your knee. Oh, I can't see. I'll move over here like this. The closer your heel to this knee, if it's closer here, when you go for the movement, it's going to take that into your ankle, which in itself is fine, trying to keep your heel on the floor, but you're not going to get the stretch down the inside of the leg, which is what we're working on at the moment. So changing where your heel is positioned will change where you're actually working. And working on your ankles is equally as important. Interesting. I just need to move out of that a minute because it was going to go into cramp. My butt's done quite a bit of work this morning. I've had a weight session with some explosive movements, and one of the reasons we're doing this, to be fair, so that I can stretch through my hips and my glutes, and this side is definitely feeling it a bit more. So keeping that knee back, keeping your pelvis tucked under, working through your glutes, working through your core to stabilise that body. Okay, right, this time we're going to hold it in a stretch position. So exactly the same setup, knee back, hips tucked under, working through that belly, and then we're going to push down, and when you get to the furthest point, now we're going to think of just driving that hip towards the floor. So you get a nice stretch here, but we just think of driving this hip down towards the floor. It's a really subtle move, but it does open up a little bit more movement through my right hip. Keeping that bum tucked under. Okay, and change sides. Bum tucked under, knee back. You can't see where my foot is now, but that's okay. We're not interested in that so much. I've got the stretch there. Now I'm thinking of driving that left groin down towards the floor. And keep breathing. Okay, nicely done. And then a final stretch and a bit of a twist. So sitting on the bones of your bottom, sitting up nice and tall. If you're doing this seated, you can bring one knee up, I'm determined to call it a knee, one ankle onto your thigh, and this time, as well as just encouraging that knee to go down towards the floor, if you lean forwards a little bit, you're going to get a stretch, more of a stretch down the outside of that hip. We're going to do something similar. I'll show you this leg first. So sitting up tall, putting one foot flat on the floor by the knee of your straight leg. So working hard through that straight leg to keep it straight, and then you're going to hug this knee into your chest, staying sitting nice and tall. Now, if you've got a bit more flexibility than I have in your, well, in the whole of your body actually, because my body's quite stiff at the moment, then you might be able to hook your elbow over the outside of your thigh, but I can't do that very well, so I'm just going to hug my knee in and staying sitting tall, and already I can feel a nice stretch down the outside of my hip, and then with my hand on behind me on the floor, I'm going to take my shoulder back and down, squeezing that shoulder blade together and twisting, trying to get my chest to twist all the way around, keeping that knee hugged in tight and keeping sitting tall. This is a really lovely stretch through the spine and a stretch into your outer hip and piriformis, which feels actually quite nice. So keep breathing and keep trying to twist a little bit further round with each breath out. Okay, and then onto the other side. So sitting tall, foot flat on the floor, hugging that knee in towards your chest. I'm going to hook my elbow around it. Sitting tall and twisting, pushing the floor away. There's a lot to think about. As long as you are feeling a stretch in that outer hip and into your butt, you're sitting nice and tall and there's no pain in your back. There we go. So, hopefully you feel a little bit more awake. Hips, shoulders, back feel a little bit looser, not quite as stiff. Certainly feels a bit better for me. So enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. Movement Not Miracles will be back next week, Christmas week next week. Blimey heck, where has the time gone? Don't forget that you can check out the website www.eatmovebehappy.com, where you can find lots more ideas for help with your eating and exercise habits, online coaching programs that really do help you raise your awareness around some of the things that you perhaps take for granted and some of the choices that you can have to help yourself be a little bit healthier and feel a little bit happier, whether that's in your eating and or your exercise, because mostly we know if we move a bit more, then it helps not only physically but it helps us psychologically as well. We do tend to feel better. So check out the website for some ideas. Also, if you sign up for our Live Better Healthy Eating and Exercise online coaching program before Christmas, then a friend can also sign up for half price, so you get a bit of a good deal. So as I say, enjoy the rest of your week, enjoy the weekend, and I will see you next Tuesday.